welcome to the very first episode of Live with the Glitter Practitioner. That's me. 2023. It's the first Monday of the year. And I just wanted to say, if you're joining live, thank you so much. And really also to say a huge thank you to everybody who has been supporting me throughout 2022. Oh, I love you all to bits, and I'm just so grateful. Anyway, so for those of you who might not know me, I am Dr. Nupi. I am the Glitter Practitioner, and I am a family physician in the UK, a general practitioner. And I'm also a spiritual and transformation life coach. And my passion is empowering others, be it my patients or my clients, my coaching clients, to truly recognize their whole self-health needs and sharing with them through my F-list framework how to realign those needs and how to keep them replenished, mind, body, and soul. So your physical health, emotional, psychological, and spiritual health, because when you're aligned and in balance and know how to bring that balance back, you are abundant, limitless, not abundant, limitless in potential. And you can truly create the life you desire and deserve. I'm living proof of this. My clients who I've helped through are living proof of this, as are my patients. And this is what I love doing the most. I think the best way to show you how it might feel to work through my coaching program or even have some 1 or 2 sessions with me, I think this is really beautifully captured in my brand story, which was created by Devin James Stinson, who is a creative genius, and it just says it all really. So, Mr. Producer, are we ready to play the brand story?
Follow the light through the storm. And this is not a light that warns, it's a light that forms on the pathway ahead. So you can maneuver around disaster instead of getting stopped by the obstacles. It just takes changing the obstacles. And then the impossible turns to possible. And then the storm lifts. You're no longer adrift. Breathe, focus, you've got this. Ahead you see a figure, a kind soul, and on the inside it feels like you might glow. Your endless cycles of cyclones have been turned to a breeze that just slightly blows. You're adorned with glitter, where you literally feel like a kid again. And this is when you realize how much of your life you've missed. And then you talk more with Dr. Nupi Aurora, who will holistically change your aura, where you and the new you won't be like strangers. No, you'll be like friends. Because this whole process is simply life changing. So if you're feeling frazzled and you want to find your fizz and dazzle, then book a call with Dr. Nupi Aurora by messaging her right here on LinkedIn.
Oh, it's so soothing. I love that music. I love everything. Anyway, my first guest today to kickstart the new year is a very, very good friend of mine, Dr. Michael Hersh. Come on down.
Yes. I love it.
Look, you get the special shells.
Well, Happy New Year. Hi.
Happy New Year to you too. Thank you so much for being my first guest of 2023.
It is a true honor and a privilege. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're amazing. So do you want to say how we met, or shall I quickly fill people in and then introduce you? You can talk about you.
Yeah, why don't I, you know what? I would love to hear your side of it, and then I will tell everybody. Go ahead, you tell people, and then I will fill in the other side.
I I love it. It's probably like, ew. Okay. So it was through, actually, I think I saw a post of yours and I loved what you've written. And in typical my fashion and style was like glitter bombing the comments and saying, hi, I really like what you just said, or said something. And then it so happened, I just met Diana Londonio, who's
Yes.
I do my show with, the other show, Supernova Soul Sisters, Physicians in Motion. I was just using that opportunity. And I think I mentioned that I'd met you, and she was like, oh my God, she knew you really well. I was like, what a small world that is. And nothing happens by coincidence at all. And I remember telling you this, and then we've just been keeping in touch once a month. It's about once a month, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just soundboarding, chatting, giggling, supporting each other, I guess, and a lot of giggles as well, as usual.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's my version.
Yeah, and I think that is spot on, as you might say. But I think, from my standpoint, I hadn't, I was kind of new to LinkedIn. I wasn't really familiar with the platform at all. And you were just kind of this welcoming presence. I am not somebody who routinely just, engages with people and then is like, yeah, let's meet for a chat. And you are just the warmth and the energy that you bring to every conversation, whether it's written or in your, in your videos on your platform. You just kind of, it was like a warm hug. You kind of brought me right into your world, and it's been incredible getting to know you over the last couple of months. And so, yeah, I think you have been a large part of my journey of kind of just allowing myself to be a little bit more seen. Because had I done what I would have done previously, which is some relative stranger on LinkedIn said, let's get together for a chat and see if we can, if we have as much in common as I think we do, I would have been like, oh, I'm so busy. I just, oh, look at the time. Oh yeah. And I think you kind of just like, again, like a warm hug. We're like, let's just chat. Right. And allowing for that has opened up so much opportunity for me, and just kind of getting to know you. And it's been really great. So it's the same story, but a little bit different from my perspective. So thank you for that.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. That's, I didn't know that actually. So thank you. I honestly mean that. So, oh gosh, I think I might cry. God, you really tell everybody what it is you do, because it's gorgeous, because it actually fits in with what you said this time last year to where you are now. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Sure thing. So yeah. So again, my name is Michael Hersh. I am a gastroenterologist, and I'm also a physician coach. So my journey with physician coaching didn't start as being a coach. It started as being a client. I have been in medical practice, out of training for a little over 13 years. And I would say probably 7 or so years into practice, I just started feeling all of the pressures of day-to-day medicine. The wait list of patients that needed to be seen, the demands of administration, of trying to create this balance between my career and my family life, which was growing. And it all just seemed so much. And I didn't think I could do it all. And so my solution for that was just retiring. It was getting out of medicine. It was working as hard as possible right now so that I could save as much money and just retire early, and then finally start enjoying my life. And, that is when I heard about physician coaching. It's still, I don't think it's as commonly, it's as talked about as maybe it should be, but that's another conversation. And so I heard about physician coaching, and I signed up for an initial call. And my thought was just like, oh, that was super helpful, but I can't possibly spend money on this thing, because if I spend money, then I'm not going to be able to retire early. And very quickly, it was pointed out to me the fault in my thinking, and that I didn't actually have to escape medicine to create the life that I wanted. And that is what began my coaching journey. And I would say about 3 months in, just my whole mindset had transformed. My life had changed, even though from the outside everything looked exactly the same. My life was totally different because I was seeing it differently, right? When
Yes.
you change
Yes.
the things when you change the way you see things, the things that you look at change, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's that perspective, isn't it? I
100.
always liken it to when I'm doing talks about this, I use my glasses and just like pretend to spray them because that's so true. It's like you're cleaning your lenses and your perspective, the way you view the world all boils down to really how you view yourself and what the influences might be. And I guess take stock, notice, name what's going on, and reframe, sorry, which is the same as my F list, F off, focus and breathe.
Yeah.
To the critter chatter. So it's incredible. And I remember when we've been talking, actually, you shared this with me, and it's such a common thing.
Yes.
And I think it's so valuable to have that coaching support. My experience was pretty much the same. I came into coaching because I was a coachee first and just saw that, how incredible it can be for other people as well.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And I think through my coaching, I saw, so much potential to bring this work to the physician
Yeah.
community. And, there just weren't as many male physicians talking about physician coaching. And so I just thought, there needs to be more male physicians out there talking about this kind of transformative process that helps you really learn how to get what you want out of life now, rather than putting
Yeah.
it off for this
Yeah.
day sometime in the future. And so that's
Absolutely.
why we're here, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's quite unique as well for you, is that, I mean, there are a lot of female physician coaches out there. I think yourself, and I think Dr. Adam Harrison, who's amazing. He's such a close friend. You're really the only two physicians I know, I think, who specifically do this. But actually, he's not specifically with men. He's all about boosting the women, actually. He has his podcast. But I think that's so important because I think it's having those listening ears and holding space for male our colleagues as well. I really do.
Yeah.
And, I think it's looking at the barriers, I guess, as well as to why somebody might not reach out for help. And I think, sharing with everybody that this is what you do, I think is so important.
Yeah. And to just speak a little bit about what you were saying about male physician coaches and male physicians in general, I think we all have to be in this to boost each other, right? So I think, some of my initial physician coaches were all female physicians, and it was phenomenal. These are incredible physician coaches. And I think just the fact that we can support each other in this way, create this community, build each other up, when we've all kind of been beaten down over time. I don't think, it's not as much as a male, female physician issue. I think it's all of us, but it's just about seeing how we all come in different shapes and sizes, and that we can all be in this community together, right? It's so important.
It is. And it's that support, isn't it? It's knowing that you're not alone as well, because the hardest thing is you're so used to, I guess, particularly as the mindset of a physician who is hardworking, determined, putting other people's needs before your own. That's patient care. But it's recognizing when you're not okay, and that's perfectly fine. And that's not just unique to physicians, that's anybody. And I think this is why this rings true for so many people, that it's perfectly okay to say that I'm struggling right now. That's not weak. That's not a sign that you're failing. I guess that's being really true to yourself, being aware of your own vulnerability, which is a strength. if you allow it to be. And it goes back to the perspective with which you view that. And it's more of the heavier based emotions, the lower frequency vibration of emotional energies, of fear, shame, all of these things, criticism, judgment. And it's how we can lift that vibration, which is all about know thyself and perspective. That's what those are my sort of take homes really over my experience and what I've been doing.
Yeah, I think that yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that resonates so much for me. I think you know, what got me into physician coaching was a wait list that I couldn't control, right? And what kept me in physician coaching was the vulnerability aspect, right? Because
Yes.
as I started on this journey, I was able to figure out like my boundaries when it came to, my wait list and things like that, and the demands that were coming at me. But what I hadn't seen until I stepped into the coaching world was how I just lived my life trying not to be seen. Right.
Yeah.
And so when I first started with coaching, kind of the vulnerability piece started to crack open. You're in these, these coaching calls where you're having to reveal these pieces of yourself, and what you experience when that call ends, that vulnerability hangover, as Brene Brown calls it. That was something that I had experienced before for sure, but I had never really looked at why is this happening. And so being in part, so much of my journey, in particular over this last year, has been about learning to step into the vulnerability, learning how to just be vulnerable and then be okay with it. And that's been a huge challenge for me, and probably one of the most rewarding journeys.
That's incredible. Well done. I think it takes real courage as well. And that's the whole thing. Being vulnerable or allowing yourself to be takes a huge amount of courage and compassion for self, because you actively want to know more and you're curious. And these are the things I often say as well, that changing the dialogue that we speak to ourselves with, instead of being critical, let's be curious. Why am I feeling like this? What's coming up? And what can this show me? Because there's always a flip side. There's always something that's behind. It's the deeper layer behind that surface emotion and that surface feeling. And it's just allowing yourself to delve further. And sometimes that's really hard to do on your own. I mean, I know when we've talked, for example, I'd say to you, oh my God, I've had a really crappy week, or whatever's happened, or it's been really good, whatever. And, holding that space for each other and just saying, okay, what else could that be? And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't see it like this. That's coaching. That's what coaching affords you, doesn't it? It's that space holding, and it's a safe space, most importantly.
For sure. And I think it's almost holding a mirror up, right? So when we're in our own heads, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of the most interesting things that I have learned, well, I mean, I've learned a lot within the coaching realm, but that we in general have 40,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day, and 80 to 90% are repetitive, and 80 to 90% are negative. So we're just repeatedly telling ourselves negative things over and over all day long. And to have somebody outside of you hold a mirror up to you and say, is this even true? Is it, these things that you're saying them, but is it right? And without even telling you, right? Because if somebody just tells you, oh, that's not true, you don't really believe them. But when somebody asks you, is that really true? And you start to think, well, I don't know, is that really true?
Yeah. Or
then you start to see the other side.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where's the evidence? Well,
Yeah.
what are you telling yourself? Absolutely. And as I think these are the questions that you can self-coach once you understand that. You can ask these questions, why do I feel like this? Or what went well? And this is what I did actually for my review. It's what we were saying to each other actually before as well, that it's so easy to forget the stuff that you're doing. And it's so easy to default into more of a critical mode of, really, I've not done anything today. Or am I really creating the impact I want to create? Am I serving enough? And before you know it, you've defaulted into this pressure of self again. And, it's what you said to me about writing down what it is you've done that month or so, or just going back and reflecting back as an aid memoir to go, you know what, I've actually done loads, which you don't always see. And I think those small wins are so important to celebrate, which I prefer to do that than go, okay, what goals am I going to set for the new year kind of thing. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I'll offer just a little trick about what you were just saying to your listeners here. So every week I will make a list of the things that I would like to accomplish this week, right? And it's not a to-do list in the traditional sense. It's these are my highest priorities, the things that I really need to get done. And I do it. There's lots of to-do apps out there. I just use the Google Note. I create little check boxes, and when you check things off, it just moves it to the bottom so you can still see it. And at the end of the week, so that I don't get stuck in the like, oh, I didn't do anything this week, I didn't get anything done, I can just go into Google Keep. I apologize, that's the name of it. And then I just go and I scroll to the bottom at all the things that are crossed off, and I spend, even if it's 30 seconds or a minute, just looking at all of the things that I've done this week. These were my top priorities. And look, I got nearly all of them done. And if I don't, I can easily just move that to-do, item to next week, right?
Yeah.
But it's not, I don't have to make a big deal. But I also get a chance to celebrate all of my progress and all the things that I've done. So I 100% wholeheartedly agree. Writing these things down and then taking a moment to go back and reflect on your accomplishments just does wonders. It just alleviates all of the pressure that we put on ourselves.
Absolutely. I love that. I think weekly sounds really good. Yeah, I think I need to do it a bit more often, to be honest, because it's only when I've said to you, and then you've reminded me, hold on, you've done this and this and this. That's the stuff I even know. So there's more stuff there. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. So I think that's such an important tool to have in on our toolboxes, really. I really do.
For sure.
What other tips do you have, Michael?
Well, I think one of the other things is as we enter a new year, a lot of people set out to create these resolutions. Just these firm statements. I'm going to be this year. I'm going to be fit. I'm going to be, financially whatever. And I think that the problem with resolutions is when we're trying to convince ourselves that we are going to be that person, right? And rather than working towards being that person, we just declare on January 1st, I'm that person, right? I'm that person who goes to the gym 5 days a week, right? And we don't give ourselves the space to figure it out. Because at the end of a week or two of not doing it, then I guess I'm just not the person that goes to the gym 5 days a week. And so I'm just abandoning my goal. And rather than these types of resolutions, I think imagining like, who do I want to be a year from now? And rather than declaring that you are that person today, what are the things that you need to do to become that person over the next year? And it sounds similar, but it's completely different, because then you can set small incremental goals. Dan Sullivan talks about the gap and the gain. So rather than focusing on the gap of where you are to where you want to be, you focus on the incremental gains of how you're getting there and all of the progress that you get to make throughout the year.
Love it. It's the baby steps. It's always the baby steps. So I would add to that, it's what I do in my coaching program, actually, find your fizz and flourish. One of the first exercises I concentrate on is dare to dream. That's what I call it. Dare to dream. As big and as bold and as brave. Just go for it. There are no barriers. And I liken it to a story my daughter used to say. When she was about 4 or 5, she'd always say to me, I'd say, what do you want to do when you grow up? Or what would I do? And she's like, oh, Mama, I want to be a mermaid fairy. And I'm like, okay, I think, yes, you can. Anything is possible. So it's going back into that mind of a child almost, and just anything is possible. and just literally just putting it all down on paper. And then you sort of just look at it all and then start extrapolating things. And then, okay, well, this is a realistic thing I could do. What's the next step? And then just keep breaking it down into smaller chunks. And that kind of sets the scene, really. So dare to dream is what I would say.
Yeah.
On
And
top of that.
in thinking about your F list, I was kind of thinking about like
Yeah.
what would we need for this to be the case, right?
Mm.
And so some people would say be fearless, right? But I don't think it's possible to go through life being fearless, right?
No.
Like fear is always going to be in the background, right? We're
Yeah.
always going to be worried about the next thing. But I
Yeah.
think learning how to be fear resistant, right?
Ooh.
Learning how to kind of recognize that fear is there
Yes.
and then lean into it and be okay. It gets
Yes.
to ride alongside, come along
Yes.
for the ride, and just
Exactly.
do it anyway. Yes.
It's your shadow self. And when you integrate, so as a healthy adult, you've got your self, present self, your higher self, your inner child, and you've also got your shadow self, which is all it's the fear. It's the things that you don't like about yourself, or things that you've pushed right the way down. When you bring it up to the surface and basically gently challenge, really, is that true? Is that not? It's allowing it fear, these denser emotions and energies, to not define you again, and it's keeping it here because it can be used as an alarm clock almost, or an alarm bell of, okay, this is coming up in me. What's that really telling me? What is it do I need to look at? And I think it's when you can integrate it like that, it no longer grips you. And that's the thing. But you need some element of that, because it's also, it's neuroscience, isn't it? It's how we function to a degree. But it's when that becomes too much and it becomes a chronic response, it's learning how to then disarm it and regulate. I feel like Harry Potter. We've watched all the Harry Potter films. I swear, I feel like disarming. I've just basically gone into Harry Potter speak right now. But it's that aspect. And actually, you've just reminded me. This is what I used to say to patients. It's looking at something. There's the spell ridiculoso or something, and you change what it's the thing that you are most afraid of into something funny, and it changes the energy. Harry Potter has a lot to teach us. It really does. It's great. I don't know. Do your kids watch Harry Potter?
We are working on that. We are highly encouraging my daughter to get into Harry Potter. She's I don't know where she gets it from. She's very stubborn. I can't quite figure out where that might be coming from.
I wonder. So I've basically just been talking about Harry Potter. You're very kindly going, I have no fucking idea what she's talking about right now.
I mean, I have seen Harry Potter.
Oh, okay, fine. Good. Oh, fantastic. Amazing. So any exciting projects coming up? Anything you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, so I am in the process. You have inspired me to kind of, keep putting my voice out there. So I have an upcoming podcast and YouTube series that I'm going to be doing with another physician coach, where we hope to highlight physicians like yourself who are out there using their doctor training to go out and do amazing things in the world. And so we are really looking forward to this. It's our goal is going to be to launch on March 1st of 2023. We've already got so much stuff kind of going on in the background, making sure that it's going to be up and ready for March 1st. And really excited to have you on once it's up and going.
Thank you. I can't wait. Honestly, I actually really love hosting my shows and co-hosting with Diana, but I love coming on as a guest as well. I get to wave. I get to say hello, everybody. I love it. It's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Hello. Oh gosh, I can't say. Okay, thank you for everybody. I've seen everybody's names coming up in comments. Hi, Kenny. Thank you. Hi, Raquel. I saw all the names come up. That's the only time I'm going to wave and talk, because I get my hand slapped otherwise. And let everybody know how they can get hold of you.
Great. So yes, my website is betterphysicianlife.com. I'm on all the socials. I'm on LinkedIn, of course, and Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, and I'd love to hear from you guys and what you thought about this show with Dr. Nupi, who is incredible. And again, I'm just so grateful that you have had me on. First episode 2023. I know you're going to do amazing things this year. No pressure, but
I know.
I have so much faith in you, and I know you're going to do wonderful things. So thank you again for having me on.
Oh, thank you so much. Honestly, it goes so quickly, doesn't it?
So
Time
fast.
flies by. And one of my, I don't set resolutions, but I am being mindful of the time on the show, because I could just keep chatting with you. I really could. Hi, Aaron. Sorry. Okay, focus, woman. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And I'd love to have you on again, basically. You've got to come back on again.
I would love that so much. And thank
Fabulous.
you again.
You're
And
welcome.
Happy New Year to you and to everybody watching. Thank you.
Listen, don't go anywhere. I'll come and join you in the green room.
Sounds great.
Oh, what a way to start the first Monday of 2023. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I was keeping an eye on comments as well and was desperately wanting to say, hi, Diana. Hi, everybody. Hi, Aaron. But I was controlling myself. Just as a reminder, you can get hold of me on LinkedIn. Right here, all my contact details are down there somewhere. And also on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram, all under the Glitter Practitioner. My Calendly link is also on LinkedIn. So please do, if you're feeling frazzled, just like my brand story says, please reach out and book a call with me. I would absolutely love to support and help you find your fizz and flourish. And so I shall see you again next week for, it was episode 31 today. I can't believe it. So episode 32 next week. Have an amazing week. Happy New Year. And I'll see you soon. Bye.